Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people from all over the world, this is G with Scampone Personal Training. Do you need work on your golf swing? Do you need to go from being an average player to above average player? Do you need more hip rotation? Do you need to impress a business partner to land a deal? Do you need to just not be embarrassing on the golf course? Isometrics can help. Let me explain. Here we have Rory McIlroy, who I believe is probably the best example of a golf swing, even though I think he's overrated. I just think he's got a pretty solid golf swing. Let's talk about isometrics here. Okay, as we can see here, Rory has his stance. Okay, the stance in nature is an isometric contraction. There are parts of his body that are holding himself in position that are statically contracted. Now, if we want more hip rotation back, it's going to be created from generating force through the ground during our stance. So we get enough momentum to swing the hips back. Without an upregulation of isometric force, we're not going to generate enough power to be able to drive our hips back. You know, a lot of people, when they want to improve their golf swing, they want to improve their hips, and they think having more hip flexibility is going to come easily. It does not. Your hips are only as flexible as your limbs and muscles and ligaments allow. So an easy fix is isometric strength. So if you can generate force through the ground in an isometric stance, get enough power and momentum, the inertia is going to take you back and drive your hips back to where you need them, but only as far as your hips are going to allow you to go. From that point, the transition from the backswing to the downswing is an isometric contraction. There's a split second right about here where the body stops. When the body stops, that is an isometric contraction. Again, you need to upregulate statically. This is going to gain momentum for you to get club speed down and then to get hips back through on rotation. If you are not stable in this position, you're not going to be able to generate the force back down towards the ball, through the ball, to get the hips around. So right now, he pretty much lets go of the club and he lets go of generating force. All the rest of this is just momentum, bringing him through the ball. And the momentum, as you can see, brings his hips square and puts his belt to the target. And here you can see he's got a lot of shoulder rotation, which is allowing him to open his chest right up. A lot of us aren't able to get as much rotation through the ball and through our stance. A lot of the times we'll end up with our hips and our shoulders square to the target, which in my opinion is good enough. Then an eccentric slowing of the follow through, having eccentric control and then an isometric pause there in our follow through is just going to complete our swing. A lot of times you see amateur golfers and their downswing and their follow through, their legs are all over the place, their shoulders are all over the place, they're not consistent, they're not able to stick the end range of motion. We should try and work on holding and sticking our posture as we finish our swing. Okay, Rory McIlroy, taking him out of here, inserting your boy G here. Okay, we're talking through the golf swing here and some isometric exercises we can do to improve our golf swing. Here I have a PVC pipe. I'm just messing around with it just to get the feel for of a hip rotation, where my shoulders need to be. Okay, I have a Rogue rack behind me, and this is a 3/8 inch galvanized steel ground rod that I cut to size to fit my Rogue rack. And I just slide it through the holes provided. And here we're going to start with a stance pull. So I put the bar where I feel like my hands are in my golf swing, in my stance. And earlier I was talking about generating isometric force in your stance and having good posture. This is what we're doing here. Our focus here is working posture and working the muscles that are being use to stabilize our stance. From here, we have an upregulation of isometric and force, which drives our hips back and creates our momentum. This, you can do whatever you want with this in terms of duration. A lot of the times I like 45 seconds because now you can manipulate how much effort you put forth. Ideally, you do want to get up there in effort up to close to 100%. Okay, here is our backswing, and that pause on the backswing with our hips rotated back. This is a backswing press. I'm pressing my hands back. Here, you can, again, take 30, 45 seconds, take some time to feel the muscles that are activated in this position and focus on where you are stacked up and where you want to be. You want to be exactly where you want to be, if that makes sense. Okay, here is a backswing pull. Now my hands are on the other side of the upright, and I'm pulling down as if I were to start that transition of my downswing. This is where I have an upregulation of isometric force and where I'm going to start to create momentum down and power through the ball. And that's going to get the momentum through the ball and into my backswing and rotate my hips through. Here is a follow through press. So ideally, my hands aren't exactly where I would finish in my golf swing, but it's where I can get my hips through and feel like I'm pressing through the upright. Here, you want to put more weight on your front foot, and you want to have your back foot rotated and your hips through. Now I have my hands on the back of the upright. Now I'm doing a pull, again, just to feel like my abs, my hips, where am I getting the tension and focusing my effort there. So we started with the stance pull, back swing press, back swing pull, follow through press, follow through pull. Here's just a little bit of a variation of the same exercises. I took a strap, like a wrist strap, and I just tied it around the upright. And now I'm really pulling into the strap. And I do that on both sides. Okay, now for some trunk rotation. Here I'm seated. I have my legs together and against one upright, and I'm rotating at the core. This is where I'm focused on my abs, my trunk, my spinal extensors, my shoulders. I'm just getting a lot of torque. I'm trying to wring out the spine under control with a 60% effort. I don't love doing a lot of dynamic rotations. I just don't want to take the risk. So when I'm rotating at the trunk, I like doing isometric. Okay, here's a hip abduction. This is a classic when it comes to isometric contractions, especially for what I do. This is just trying to strengthen the hips is really all I want to do here. One leg is down, being stabilized, and my right leg is away, going into the bar. And I'm trying to separate my feet, standing tall, again, thinking about posture, isometric posture, standing tall from the left leg all the way up through the neck. This doesn't look easy. I mean, it does look easy, but it's not easy. Try it out against a wall if you could. One thing to note here is both my knees are straight because I want the force to bypass the knee and go straight up to the hip. Again, you can do whatever you want here, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, whatever you want to do. Okay, here's a good one. This is spinal extension, back extension with rotation. I try to think of being upright as if I were to stand upright, feel like my feet are in the ground. I'm pressing through my feet and I'm rotating my right shoulder up into the bar. Wedging myself between the bar and the floor, getting rotation and extension. Here we go the other way, rotation and extension. You want to get as much extension as your body will allow, but never like overextend yourself for the sake of the exercise. The intent is to feel this in the muscles we want. Okay, here's trunk flexion and rotation. This is definitely like a golf swing. This is like my backswing here. You'd like to keep your legs straight and down to lengthen the hamstrings and feel a hamstring stretch. One of my issues throughout my life has always been my hamstring flexibility. So I'm not really able to get the rotation I want in by keeping my legs flat, something I'm continuing to work on. If you can keep your legs flat here, do so, keeping your knees down. Here I'm just rotating and crunching, trunk flexion. Now trunk extension with rotation. Again, kind of just looks like a backswing. Take some time. You might not feel this in the muscle right away. Take some time to set yourself up. That's the beauty behind isometrics. You can play around with it, and then once you get the right feel, recreate that feel and hold it for a long duration. When I mean long duration, again, 30 to 45 seconds. Always doing something with your legs here, pressing your feet down, rotating at the back. Okay, I think our last one here is now for some core and abs to strengthen and stabilize. I'm getting a hip flexion with trunk rotation. My leg is going up into the bar. My arm is going up into the bar. I'm trying to compress the bar with my leg and my arm. Again, hip flexion, spinal rotation. Breathing this through, never holding your breath. This is also a good opportunity to do some breath work as you're contracting the muscles. It's a 2-for-1. We see the benefits of doing breath work while meditating. Here, you don't even need to meditate. You can work out and get breath work done. Make sure you're breathing. Never hold your breath. And that's it. So just to summarize, you may find it hard to get flexibility and mobility in your hips and rotation for what you're looking for. If you cannot get the rotation you're looking for, think about isometric strength to create more momentum and stability through the backswing and the follow through, and having stability and control so that you can be more accurate and consistent with your ball strike. Like if you swing back without being stable in the ground, your club is going to be in different locations every time. You're going to have a different backswing, a different pause position every time, and you're not going to have consistency. And we know with golf, accuracy is dependent upon just being consistent. So do isometrics, create time under tension in those different positions so that you can do multiple things. One, you can feel the muscles most activated there. You can create stability in those positions. You can force the nervous system to be in those positions and feel comfortable and strong and stable in those positions so that when you go to replicate it on the golf course, your nervous system is able to be stable and generate force through. Play around with it. That's the beauty of isometrics. You can literally do anything. If you don't have a bar and a setup like this, there is the ISO Fit, which you can buy online, ISOPHIT. You can do the same exercises there, or you can get a strap or go against the wall. You have to, at times with isometrics, be creative because there's not just a machine in front of you where you go sit in the machine and you know what to do. I have a lot more of isometric content on my page. If you need any more ideas, contact me, message me below. I try to answer all and any messages sent to me. If you like this video and want to learn more about isometric static contractions, like and subscribe. Send this video to your grandfather because, he wants to be competitive on the golf course too. And, I just want to say I'm not an expert golfer. I am an amateur golfer at best. I'm a social golfer. I do my golf tournaments every year. Me and my best friend, we go golfing. He's got 3 kids. I got 2 kids. We're in the position as parents now, as dads now, where we have to ask our wives in advance when we can golf. Because, you got to set it up. I know some of the dads out there, you got to set it up. You can't leave your wife out there for 3 to 4 hours with all 3 kids. You got to prepare in advance if you don't want to get in the doghouse, is basically what I'm trying to say. If you want to, have a happy, healthy marriage, I do think you need to go golf. but there needs to be some communication with the wife, just so you can enjoy your time. Nobody wants a golf being concerned. Golf is hard as it is. I'm going on a little rant here. I don't know what this has to do with isometrics, but golf is hard as it is. We don't have to worry about the stress that we're creating at home. So, hey, coordinate with your golf partner. Okay, when's a good time for us? Let's run it by the bosses, aka the wives. They'll get back to you. Yes, no, maybe. We'll talk about it. Hopefully it's a yes. And you go golf, everyone's happy. You get out of your wife's hair, you go golf, you spend some time with your buddy, then you go back home being a dad. If you're not a dad, then you don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm just ranting and rambling at this point. Okay, that's all I got. That's 15 minutes in. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, message below. Over and out.